Why does man get sick? Why sickness and disease at all? I went on what causes man to get sick, man can live well. By the sheer fact that you're here and breathing, there is some. All right. Hello. It's 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast. Maybe you're watching our rebroadcast in the morning. I welcome all of our viewers to Zoë Today. I'm Damon Davis, and I got my coffee. What you got? Got to get a comfort drink sometimes. You know, you settle in. As I say, fasten your seatbelt. Get ready for the ride. We have a very special show today, and I just want to tell you again, thank you for tuning in. Wherever you are in your world today, you're trying to find answers to the big questions in life, to figure out how to win at this thing we call life. And I hope to be your guide today, me and my amazing guest, to discover the extraordinary life. Isn't that cool? Life above life. Life with nothing missing, nothing broken, everything whole. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? It's not. We're going to jump right in to a pressing topic that affects really every single part of our life. It's called money. Oh no, Damon. We don't want to talk about money. Well, yes, we do. It's so important. It's the thing that impacts us physically, mentally, certainly emotionally. Statistics say that money matters are one of the leading causes of divorce in this country. Maybe you not getting married yet because you don't got enough, right? I don't know. It's a real problem, and we either don't have enough of it or we don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to manage it. And again, statistically, what we know is that most people, maybe you watching right now, you're in the kind of debt that has you feeling overwhelmed every single day. You don't know how to get out of that money problem, or you don't know how to grow the money problem in terms of developing the kind of cash, financial position, financial situation where you're leading and not trailing behind, where you have peace of mind, you're not stressed out all the time. And if you feel some of what I'm saying today, well, you're not alone. Great money management skills, they're not taught at school. They're not often talked about at church, or in many cases, not even at home. I wasn't taught to build a budget, much less manage one. So you can have money, but not know how to manage it. It's a problem too. So what we're wanting to do on this program, to the journey to discover the extraordinary life, is to have money and money not have us. We want to work to improve our financial situation. So I don't want you to go anywhere. Don't touch the dial. If you or you know anybody who's got a money problem or is trying to understand money in a way that it's designed to understand, then you want to be part of today's conversation. The dialogue that I'm going to have will be one of the most important conversations that we could have with you on this program. All right? I'm sitting here today with my dear friend, Lee Jenkins. Now, Lee is a nationally recognized businessman. He's owned businesses. He owns businesses. He's an author. In fact, when we first met many years ago, I had him on this program. It was here to talk about money. And he's an author of a book called Money, Real Solutions to Financial Challenges. He's critically acclaimed in this area as a financial expert, and he speaks all over the country. And he also happens to be a pastor, the senior pastor of Eagle Nest Church. And on today's program, we're going to tackle the challenging economic times that we face, and we're going to understand how to take diligence and care to understand money in a way that we can invest in our future. And Lee's here to show you and me some practical steps to start building that financial plan. Lee, welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
How'd you like that open?
That was incredible, man. I tell you, I'm here listening to you, and I say, man, you just need to go and give everybody some financial advice.
I saw you leaning forward on the edge of your seat. Like, Damon, what? It really is a problem, though, isn't it?
It is. You know, money is not everything, but money touches everything that is important to our lives.
So true.
So, you can't avoid managing money, whether you like to manage it or not. And like you said, Damon, money is typically not taught in the family. It's certainly not taught in school, and it's not taught in churches.
Yeah.
But here's the amazing thing about it. My book, from a money perspective, and I love to read the Wall Street Journal, Money Magazine, Forbes, Fortune, all of that is great. But the greatest book about money, believe it or not, is the Bible.
Wow.
And there are over 2,350 verses
Wow.
in the Bible
To deal with money.
Yeah, that deal with
Wow.
money. 16 out of the 38 parables that Jesus talked about deals with money. So it's an important subject. We just have to know how to understand it and then how to implement good stewardship or good money habits in our life.
Well, we're going to get into the topic deeply. And the time moves so fast. Before we know it, the show will be over. And then we'll go into an after show. By the way, just want to make sure that you watching, if you haven't been part of our after show, please join us after this show. We stay online. And if you have some questions, you can ask questions. We'll do our best to try to answer them. But Lee, I know you.
Yeah.
We've known each other quite some time. It's great to see you. You're aging in reverse.
Well, I'm trying. It's tough. It's tough.
I know that it is. But a lot of people watching do not know you. Now, I gave a little caption. So you've been a businessman, a business leader. You've owned businesses. You own businesses. You're a pastor, and then also you spent some time at Wall Street, and you were a professional football player.
Yeah.
So just whatever you want the people to know about you before we get into some questions that I have, share if you would, please.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I have done a lot of things in my life. I call myself the jack of all trades, master of none, but it is because I just have a varied interest in things. But I grew up in a home, Damon, and we struggled financially. I like to say there are three types of people financially, and we were the first one. And the first one is the financially frustrated. And then the second level is the financially functional. And the third level is financially free.
Wow.
Financially frustrated, functional, and free. And I live most of my life being financially frustrated.
The bottom of the
at the very bottom. My parents struggled. My mom was a school teacher. My father was a great guy, but he was an alcoholic, and that just caused all kind of marital issues, all kind of financial issues. And as you said, money does impact marriage a lot. So my parents struggled. And then I was pretty good in sports, so I had a lot of football scholarships coming out of high school, and that was going to be my answer to getting out of this financially frustrated life.
Yeah.
I was going to excel in sports in college and then go to the pros and never have to worry about money again.
Yeah.
Well, it almost worked out that way, almost. I went to the University of Tennessee and played football, was pretty good, got drafted by the New York Giants and spent 1 year in professional football.
Wow.
And it was incredible. But it didn't last long. I got injured, so NFL for me stood for not for long because it did not last long. It was over so quick. So the beauty of it is I reached my goal. The bad thing is once I got my hands on that money, the first year, being a professional athlete, a year later, it was gone.
Wait. All right, so here you are most of your life at the bottom of the heap, so to speak, at that frustrated level, not functional and certainly not free. And by the way, what an accomplishment.
Thank you.
To become a professional football player. Bravo. Yeah. And I'd imagine you were thinking, oh, all my troubles are over.
Yes.
Am I right?
You're so right.
And people would think that.
Yeah.
They say, well, if I can just get that job, if I can just hit that certain level,
That's right.
suddenly all my trouble will be over.
Yeah.
But what I hear you explaining is that if you don't understand what money is, you can get it, abuse it,
Yes.
lose it.
Right.
Am I hitting the nail on the head?
Oh, you're hitting it right on the head. In the Old Testament, there's an incredible passage. It says, we lack because we don't have wisdom, And so in other words, you can have money, but if you don't have wisdom to go with it, then you're just going to abuse it and eventually lose it.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand the habits of money. So here I reached my goal, had money, but didn't understand the habits. But that experience changed my life forever. Because after that, I said, by the grace of God, I'm never going to lose money again and blow it and be frivolous with it. I want to know what God says about this. I want to know what are some healthy habits that I need to establish. And so eventually I got into the business world, and I was an investment advisor advising people about their money.
Wow.
So and about their investments more specifically. And God just blessed it. He prospered me. Before I was 40, I was a millionaire, and
Wow.
God just prospered me. But along the way, I was making these promises to the Lord. Lord, teach me how to be a good steward. Teach me how to manage money so it's a blessing and not a burden.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of aspects to money. Money is not like you take a magic pill or you do one thing and all of a sudden you're healthy.
Sure.
It's almost like it's the same way we treat our physical health. You have to do a number of things in order to be financially healthy. And so I like to share those things with people. And what I do is I coach people. Of course, I was in the investment business for 25 years and written a couple of books, speaking all around the country. I still do that, but I'm no longer an investment advisor. In 2012, I planted a church, and with 20 people, we're now well over 3,000 members.
Wow.
And God has blessed it tremendously. But one of the major uniquenesses of our ministry is we want to teach people how to be good stewards of their money, how to be entrepreneurs, how to reach their financial potential so that they can glorify God.
Wow. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, Lee, use the word, the habits. I caught that. There are, I would imagine, specific things, principles that we need to understand about money, regardless of what amount we have, what level we are at financially.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's so true.
So when we come back, I want to get right into that. You share as much time as we can cover, and as much time as we have, some of the most important habits as pertains to money.
Great.
And we'll just keep having fun. How about
I can't
that?
wait.
All right. Hey, don't go away. We're going to a break. We'll be right back after this. I'm Damon Davis. This is Zoë Today. We're with Lee Jenkins talking about money.
There's never been a better time to lose those extra pounds and gift yourself a healthier life. Zoe's team of weight loss experts is proud to offer Zoe 60, an easy-to-follow, complete lifestyle program. Not only will the program help you lose weight and keep it off, but it's designed specifically to help you balance your spirit, soul, and body.
The program that we put together puts you in a place to heal yourself, and it doesn't take long for you to see the benefits of that.
Call now to set up a remote consultation with our wellness coaches. They will walk you step by step through this life-changing program online, and you can lose up to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days and vastly improve your overall health.
The Z60 program was really life-changing for me. I lost a total of 22 pounds in the first 40 days. Everyone wanted to know how I did it.
Well, I've had these pants in my closet for over 3 years, actually. Now I'm wearing them because of my thighs, I'm loving it.
Call right now, and your initial consultation, normally valued at $100, will be absolutely free. You now have no more excuses not to get started on your overall health journey. Call now.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm Damon Davis. This is Zoë Today. I want to again thank you for investing your time with us. Today we're investing in you. How? Talking about money, big one. And maybe you don't have enough of it. Maybe you're trying to get some of it. Maybe you got it and don't know what to do with it. Maybe you had it and it's gone. And listen, Lee Jenkins, our guest, he's an expert in finance. He's an author of a book. He's pastor of a church. He's been there, done it, got the shirt. He's been broke. He's been to the top. They say over 10,000 hours makes you an expert at something. I'd say you'd spend over 10,000 hours on this topic of money. Is that right?
No doubt.
So I want to, as we get back into it, I want to talk about, you shared 5 habits. I think there's 5 of them in your book. Habits of money. Habits. That means the kind of thing you need to do over and over again It's got to be blink factor, they say. You got to keep doing it, master it, habits. Want to hit that. But before, would you tell me what you see counseling businesses, business leaders, ordinary people from all walks of life as it pertains to money? What is one of the biggest challenges that people face dealing with money? What do you see?
Great question. By the way, this big challenge is in every facet of the economic spectrum. In other words, I see this with poor people who are struggling. I see it with the financially frustrated. I see it with the financially functional. And I even see it with the financially free. And it is simply this: the more we make, the more we spend. That's it. That's simple. As our income goes higher, we typically, as human beings, have a propensity to spend what we get.
Well, isn't that true?
On every level.
Yeah.
We keep raising our lifestyle. Therefore, we never create what is called financial margin, that gap where you can spend less than what you earn. Now, that sounds simple to do, but it is very difficult.
All right, hold on. I got to ask. I'm sorry.
All right.
I got my prepared questions. I want to get into the 5 habits. Why? That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
Then I wonder why I'm broke again.
We all have.
You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, Damon, I told you by the time I was in my 30s, I was a millionaire, but I didn't stay at millionaire status. I came back, but it was not a straight trajectory up.
Meaning it didn't just go that way.
That's right. All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the economy, some bad mistakes I made. Maybe I got off track a little bit. But the bottom line, most of that was surrounding spending decisions. If you don't tell your money where to go, you're going to wonder where it went. That's simple. And a lot of people like, how can I spend this much?
It's true, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I had all this money in the bank, and where did it all go?
Yeah, where did it all go?
Truly. And hey, just so you know, it doesn't matter what level you're at. We all have these conversations with ourselves. I mean, we've all been there, and it is true.
Yeah,
it's like,
it is.
Wow. And then we add it up. It's like, gosh, where'd the money go?
Yeah.
And you panic, you freak out, you blame, and then you look, and it's like, okay, this.
Yeah.
You add up all these little tiny expenses, and some maybe it's not always the big ones.
Yeah.
And you add it all up for it's gone.
Exactly
and
right.
when you say that, it's I really didn't have a plan going into it.
Yes, that's the problem. But one of the reasons we do this is a lot of these are internal issues playing out externally.
Explain.
Okay, for instance, if you're not happy with yourself, if you're not content with who God made you. Now, contentment doesn't mean that you don't want to get better, that you don't want to increase and reach your potential. Contentment means at this stage, wherever that stage is, I'm going to be the best that I can be, and I'm going to thank God for it. But a lot of people try to feel good about themselves through material means.
Sure.
Their house, their car, their status in life. So we end up making money decisions that are really not based on real good financial principles. They're based on our inward selves, something internally going on that is just playing out financially.
Oh my goodness, pay attention to social media.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, the picture is we got to have this and have that in order to keep up, add up, stack up, measure up.
Keep up with the Joneses.
It's true, right?
Call it. Yes.
And that's the result, as you stated, of maybe not really being content or certain about who you are already. And you add those things to your life. They really don't add to your life. Maybe a little better quality of life.
Yeah.
They don't solve the self-esteem issues, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And then, of course, if you add to that, just materialism is easy to succumb to. We were just taught, the more money you make, well, you have to keep upgrading. You have to keep growing. And there's nothing wrong with getting better. But a lot of people get in trouble because they don't know how to manage money along the way. So let me say this. A lot of people have financial hope. They hope, that they will be a certain place financially. But what determines where we go is not hope, it's habits.
Wow.
Our habits, what we do every day, every week, every month, determines our financial destiny.
That's good.
So what I try to get people to do is to look at their finances the same way they would look at their health. If you were trying to lose weight, you can't take a pill to lose 25 pounds.
True.
And then wake up the next morning of the next week. So you have to do some things every day. Your diet, your exercise. So I try to do the same thing financially. What can we do in order to be financially healthy?
Got it.
What are those habits?
Let's hit the first one.
Okay, the first habit is how you see your finances. SEEC. In other words, your perspective. Okay? Now that's very important because a lot of people see finances from a scarcity standpoint instead of from an abundance standpoint. That's why they spend so much, because, well, I may not get this again, or I better do this now. But that's a scarcity mentality. So
And I think you probably mean that literally, like scarcity.
Yes.
Like, am I getting? It's a play on words.
Yeah.
It's fear based.
Fear-based.
What they're afraid they're not going to have enough. They're not going to have it again.
Or they may lose it.
Okay.
Or, the parable of the talents in the Bible, the guy said, I hid the master's money because I was scared. Okay. In other words, I didn't want to take the risks to grow it. I didn't want to do what was necessary to grow it. And the way we see money is so important. First and foremost, we have to realize that we are stewards, and a steward is a manager of someone else's possessions.
Wow.
So who is the owner? God. So we have to see money as something that we are accountable to someone else for.
That is good.
Okay. And so when you see it that way, that you can't do what you want to do with it, that you have an accountability to God, and you even have an accountability to yourself to make sure you manage money correctly. So the first habit is to make sure that you have the right perspective, because if you don't think right, you won't do right.
Got it.
Okay. Now we get into some of the other things. The second one is you have to, I'm going to call it seize money. The first one, see. The second one, seize it. In other words, how are you going to get it? What has God put inside of you? What are your skills? What are your experiences? What are your expertise? What is your expertise? How are you going to get it? Everybody is called to go get money. I believe it is in Deuteronomy. It says God gives us the power to make wealth. So everybody in them has a wealth building tool. And of course, wealth is different levels of wealth. So here's the deal. How are you going to get it? Are you going to be an employee? Are you going to be self-employed? Are you going to be a business owner? Are you going to be an investor? You have to be very clear about your calling. And because that's your calling is what produces your income. And your income is your most valuable financial asset.
Is that knowing your skill?
Yeah, knowing your skill.
Your talent, knowing
your talent. Yeah. A lot of people are in the wrong soil. That's why they don't produce financial abundance.
Got it.
Let me give you an example. If you plant a seed in the wrong soil, it may be a good seed, it may be good soil, but if the seed doesn't match the soil, then you're not going to see a plant blossom.
Wow.
It's the same way financially. You have to have your skill set, your talent in the right soil, in the right field. I knew finances was my soil, was the right soil for me, and God blessed it. The third thing is you have to sow the right way.
All right, I'm going to pause you. We've gone through 2. We're about to hit 3.
Yes.
And I told you, time goes so fast.
It does.
We out of time. Give me a minute.
Okay.
We're going to go to the wrap here, and our sponsor will share a word or two. But don't disconnect. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed the first part of today's program. We will be online. ZoeToday.com. You go to YouTube and find us. Just look for live. We'll be there to meet you. But tune in tomorrow, this same time, 1 o'clock Eastern, Monday to Friday. I'm Damon Davis. This is Zoë Today. I'm with Lee Jenkins talking about money. If you missed the show, find the repeat online. You don't want to miss the opportunity to enrich your life by understanding what money's all about. See you again tomorrow. I'm Damon. We hope that today has been a blessing to you.
In 30 days, I lost 21 pounds, but that wasn't the significant part. I had energy. I had 6 grandkids. I could run with them. I could walk up steps and not be winded. As a matter of fact, my cholesterol dropped by 47 points. Since I stopped the 30-day program, I'm still losing weight. I am still losing weight. I can't say enough about the program. I thank my pastors for presenting this opportunity to us here. I thank Damon Davis, the founder of Zoe Wellness. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everything Zoe has
I lost a total of 22 pounds. That weight came off really in the first 40 days. I've always been a big guy. I was an ex-football player, so I've always been on the heftier side. And so after starting the Zoe program, I really slimmed down a lot. Everyone wanted to know how I did it.
When I went to Zoe, it was for the weight loss, but it was for all the additions that they could offer. You're talking about your entire body from head to toe. My weight dropped at a good number. I lost 21.23 pounds. I feel healthier. I have more energy. I'm becoming better.
I lost about 45 pounds as of today.
I have lost 32 pounds, which is huge. The clothes fit better, I look better, and my knees don't ache anymore. Every day you go on the scale, you see the results. You're losing weight.
I really thank Zoe Wellness Center
For giving our life
for
back
giving
and
us
giving
our
us
life
this
back.
strength.
In 30 days' time, I lost 42 pounds on the program, and I was dropping a pound or two every day. It was happening like I couldn't believe it. My doctor couldn't believe it. We were able to actually reduce my cholesterol medication by half. I feel like a new person. I not only wanted to look like a rock star, I wanted to feel like the rock star I used to be, and now I do.
as I started doing Zoe Wellness, I was literally losing a pound a day. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This really works? Like, what? And then I started to think about the clothes that I wasn't able to wear even a week ago, but now I can put them on. It was proven. It works. Listen, if you are looking to look your best, feel your best, if you are getting a new zest for taking care of yourself and taking care of your life, you've got to try Zoe Wellness. It works for me. It worked and it continues to work for me. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. So look out for it. Zoe Wellness.
Because my go-to for, my gosh, my whole life.
It's the faith part.
Yeah, and and it's not 4 words. We mean it when we say praise the Lord.
Yeah.
We mean it when we want to bring up a scripture and stuff. And but Hello, hello. Welcome to the after show. Damon Davis, your host. This is Zoë Today. I'm here with Lee Jenkins. You're a pastor and an author and a speaker. You're a tremendous man in terms of expertise in the area of money. And you're my friend. So if you watched us on the network, then I hope you caught the first half of the show. We hit 2 of 5 habits that we need to practice, master as pertains to money, so that money doesn't master us, right?
Yes,
So
that's
you like that?
cool. I love that.
You can use that.
Yes, I will.
But we the time's so short. So if you're resuming the conversation with us, we are going to get into point 3. But before we do that, just work with us. You're going to be part of the production process here. I want to allow my good buddy Lee to go back and restate a couple of things that we're going to use for edit later for a full-on show, right? A lot of people just see 30 minutes, but man, we go for a full hour, first part and second part, and then we have the ability to build that into a comprehensive program that can reach the masses so that they can get an understanding of what we talked about today. And money is so important.
It is.
It impacts, you said, every aspect of our life, doesn't it?
Everything.
All right. So take the podium, sir. Help me produce some good TV.
I sure will.
And start with recapitulating that there are
Yes.
5 habits. Hit them in order, and then we'll dive into
I
it.
sure will. Well, habits determine our success, not hope, not wishes, but what we do on a daily basis. I like to say habits determine our destiny, what we do daily, weekly, monthly. So I have 5 habits. The first one is more of a perspective, and the other 4 are things you do. And I'm just going to go over the habits right quick, and then elaborate just a little bit.
All right.
The first habit is how you see money. In other words, your perspective has to be right. It has to start up here. It has to start with, again, your perspective. And a lot of our perspectives are messed up from childhood, from books we've read, from television shows, from the culture that we've been around. And if we don't get that right, it's going to be tough to get the money thing right. So the first thing is see money right. The second habit is seize it the right way. In other words, you have to be operating in your gift zone, your calling, if you will, your skill set, because that's where you produce the most return off of your effort. The third thing is how you sow money, being generous with it and not stingy, particularly if you are a person of faith. Now, that is counterintuitive, countercultural. We say the more you hold on to it, the more you get. But this guy named Jesus says it's more blessed to give than to receive. So how you sow it. And then the final 2 are super important. How you save it, that means investing it and preserving it for your future. And then how you spend it, your lifestyle. Those are the 5 things that you have to do.
All right, one more time. See it.
See it.
Seize it.
Sow it.
Sow it.
Save it.
Save it.
Spend it.
Spend it. Ooh, I like that last one.
Yes. Hey, and we all will spend money, and it's fun to spend money.
It's funny we got it in reverse, though, don't we?
Yeah, we have
Most
it in
people get it and spend it, and everything else, it
That's
follows.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
I want to hit a couple of sound. I want to make a couple of statements, okay? And you give me some sound bites, observations. I'll call it, and then you give me some unpacking for me, and take as much time as you want.
Okay.
How we see money. Now, culturally, if you pay attention to what's going on in social media, especially music videos, money's a big part of the conversation. And it almost seems as though money is positioned as a tool
It is.
to do something versus, and it's a flamboyant tool.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a status thing.
Yes.
Right? It didn't used to be that way. What has happened in culture that money has become so perverse?
Media.
Okay.
Because now you can tell the whole world what you just bought, what you're driving, the kind of socks you're wearing, the kind of shoes you're wearing, what kind of house you live in. And you can advertise it to the entire world. Whether it is a good choice or not doesn't matter. So people now are more prone to faking it until they make it, but they don't make it because they're faking it. There's a statement I read. It said, the pretense of wealth actually impedes the accumulation of wealth.
Say that one more time. That is good.
The pretense, pretending to be wealthy, actually gets in the way of you becoming actually wealthy.
Wow.
So the more you pretend to be wealthy, the more you try to show the world on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and all that, hey, look what I have. You actually probably are hurting your wealth building capability.
Now, you're not saying that, make great money and get some great things because you want to. You're not saying that that's a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's perspective. It's how do we really see money, to your point? Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, he drove a truck.
Yeah.
He drove a truck before he had the money.
Sure did.
And when he got the money, what did he drive? He drove a truck. Warren Buffett, one of the most richest men in the world. Berkshire Hathaway. I think the stock was even no better. The stock is like thousands of dollars for a single share.
That's right.
He has invested in companies, bought companies. If you buy Berkshire Hathaway stock, you're actually buying in a company that says, we know what companies to buy and we know how to grow them. And he drives like an old 60,000 mile used Volvo or something.
Yes.
I mean, the guy could buy an entire
he could
car
buy,
company.
He could buy the automobile company if he wanted.
He could.
Yeah.
What is going on in their mind compared to what we see in culture? And would you say that that mindset contributed to their ability to accumulate that kind of wealth?
No doubt about it. First of all, there's nothing wrong with nice things. But what I admire about those guys is they didn't feel like they had anything to prove to people. So once you get wealth, you don't have to flaunt it. You don't have to show people what you have. And you have to ask yourself the question, why is that so important that I buy certain things? Is it because this is really a great automobile and I want to keep it for a while and enjoy, how it rides, or am I trying to impress people?
Yeah.
So what I like about those guys and many others I've worked with thousands of millionaires and even a couple of billionaires who were clients of mine. And I'm telling you, their thrill was making the money and doing good with it and using it as a tool. All of the material things that came with it was not as important.
Wow. I was born into a family that didn't have a lot of money. And by the way, my grandfather would say, confession is good for your soul, not your reputation. So I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell myself. My wife, if she were here, she'd laugh. She'd say, it's true. It happened. But, it's good to share our experiences. And if anything, it just lets you know, I've been where you are. We all have. So anyway, I didn't have a lot of money coming up. And I met this beautiful woman. First date, we went out. Second date, I got me a little fanny pack. It's a little leather fanny pack. It was popular in those days. You keep your stuff in it, your keys, your wallet, what have you. And I got me this little fanny pack, and I put $100 bill on one side, and I put $100 bill on the other side. And in the middle, I had all these ones. We went out, and man, I had to buy him dinner, and I made sure to pull out my fanny pack. And I opened that. I made a mistake. I pulled it out a little too quick.
Oh man!
And she saw that 100. It's a true story. And I made sure she saw that back 100.
Yes.
But in the middle, I moved too quick. All my ones fell out. It's a true story.
Wow.
Today we laugh about it, but then for some reason, I thought I had to impress. And truly, if you watch movies,
Yes.
music today, it's so extreme. There's an entire industry overseas where you can buy fake purses
Yes.
and fake wallets and fake shoes, and they've got it so dialed in that you can't tell it's not real.
Mm.
Just so I can have the next thing that
Yeah.
keeps me up. You said it on the first part of the show with
Yeah.
Mr. Jones.
Mm.
What's going on in our brain? What is it the result of, in my case, I was so broke growing up that I was probably just discouraged and depressed by that, and
Yeah.
who knows, and self-conscious about it. But it went all the way into the zone of, I felt like in order to have a relationship and be considered, at standard, that I had to have that fanny pack with all those ones. And it's that way. It will cause us to buy cars we can't afford, move into houses that we can't afford. There are people that make great money right now, but they are so leveraged. They have 2 nickels to rub together at the end of the month, but are driving a great car and a great house. Broke as a joke in November because they see money
That's
a
right.
different way.
That's right. Well, a lot of this is because of how we grew up, our personal experiences. I had a similar experience. When I made it to the pros, one of the reasons I spent my money as fast as it came in is because I was tired of being broke. I was tired of being deprived of things because I never experienced having choices financially. So when I got choices, I didn't make good choices. So I think a lot of it is our experience growing up, and everyone has a different experience. But the other thing is just the culture. The culture we live in is constantly telling us that you are what you drive, you are what you wear, you are where you live. And it is very difficult to do something countercultural. In other words, to say, I will not be defined by those things. Now, again, nothing is wrong with those things. The problem is
It's
once
the
you
motive behind it.
absolutely, it's the motive behind it.
Got it.
And then we become defined
By
by
it.
those things.
How should we then? Many people watching are like, oh, yeah, it's an obvious answer to the question. How should we see ourselves? How should we see money?
Yeah.
But I want you to answer that for people that are watching.
Well, I'm going to say the first thing, we have to realize money is a tool. It's an instrument given to us to do good with, not to just consume upon ourselves, not to just waste, not to even hide and bury. I love the parable of the talents in the Bible. So, first of all, as a manager of something, a good example would be, I don't know about you, Damon, but when I was a teenager, I started driving. My parents would let me use their car. I knew if I wanted to use it over and over that I had to take care of it. And taking care of it means when I bring it back, it needs to be clean, doesn't need to have any dents in it. And how about putting a little gas in it too? So when my mom or dad got in it, in other words, I wanted to be a good steward because it didn't really belong to me. It belonged to my parents. It's the same with money. When we view it as something that we don't really own, we just manage it. So if we want more of it, which most people do, and nothing is wrong with that, then you better manage what you have good right now. And most people don't see money that way.
They don't see money as, if I'm understanding you, it belongs to God.
Yes, it belongs to God.
He has provided the pathway, whatever that is, and the skill that you have and the talent that you have applied to get it.
Yes, He's given us the
But there's
ability
a responsibility
yes,
attached to that.
big responsibility. In fact, Damon, it's such a huge responsibility that if you don't manage it well, it can seriously affect your spiritual life and other things too.
Sure.
Why do I say that? Jesus made a statement one time. It's like, wow, whoo, man, that's strong. He said, you cannot serve God and money. Some versions say mammon. So in other words, he said, you're going to have to make a choice. Damon, I remember in high school, I was a good athlete and called myself having more than one girlfriend. Bad move. I remember the girlfriend that I was supposed to have. She says, you're going to have to make a choice. It's either me or her.
Yeah.
God says the same thing. But it's amazing. He didn't say, you cannot serve God and the devil, or you cannot. We know that. But he put money as a force that is so strong that you got to make a decision which one you're going to serve.
And you're not saying you don't pursue it.
Yeah.
Because your next one is seize it.
That's right.
It's just you don't lose sight of how you see it.
Yeah, how you see it.
Because if you see it wrong, you see it, you get it, we're going to have a problem.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about how we seize it.
How you seize it.
I really like that.
Yes.
How do we get it?
Yeah. Well, you don't get it by just doing nothing and just praying and all of that. That's great. But you actually have to go and do something. And the thing God has called most of us, if not all of us, to do in order to get money is this beautiful 4-letter word called work.
So simple.
It's so simple. That's when we work, we make an income.
Yeah.
So work, but then how do I work? Where do I work? What do I do when I work?
Yeah.
Because you need to be in the right soil, the right kind of work that should bring out your skill set, that should bring out what God has called you to do, something that you can be fulfilled doing. Happy people make a lot of money. People who are not fulfilled usually don't.
Yeah.
And to make money and not be fulfilled, that's a miserable life.
Yeah.
So what you want is you want to be able to maximize your money-making or wealth-building potential. And that's different for everybody. Some people are called to make millions of dollars. Some people, hundreds of thousands. It doesn't matter. What you want to do is stand before God and hear God say, well done.
Yeah.
So seizing it, meaning finding that thing that you were called to do and maximizing it and doing it excellent. Yeah. The third thing. Please.
Can I chime in? So I hear you saying that was so good. And I'm glad you clarified that there are levels.
Yes.
Because not everybody's going to make $1 million.
Nope.
But that doesn't make you any less valuable, less important in the system of money. If your motivation isn't right, you can have all the money in the world, but not have a quality of life. And what's it worth? Am I telling the truth?
You're so true.
I have 5 kids. I don't think if you put my 5 kids here and ask them, has Dad ever said you need to make a lot of money? I've never said that to them. I wouldn't. Instead, I say, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Chase it.
Yes. Seize it.
You want to work with Dad? You're welcome to. I love that you do. But instead, I want you to be happy.
Yes.
You got to be fulfilled. And if money is the definition of fulfillment, it's out of order already.
No doubt.
Am I telling the truth?
Oh, yes, you are.
Okay. So you're not saying that you should judge yourself by reaching a certain money level, right? You're not saying
I'm not
that
saying
at all.
no.
You're saying that you have to see money the right way in order that you can manage it responsibly when you seize it.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
But that last part, I think is really important to make sure that we do express that 4-letter word, W-R-K word, that you have to put forth the effort, right?
Yes.
Whether you're making 30 grand a year, 60 grand, 90 grand, 900 grand, it don't matter. You're not going to get it if you haven't at least mastered the discipline of that 4-letter word.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
You are so right.
Okay. So some people say, well, wait a minute. I got to go chase money. No, we didn't say that. You got to earn money. That requires work. But if I do that, it kind of puts me over into that land of, money being the root of all evil. Lee told me money used to be a goal. You're not saying that, are you?
Nope. And by the way, that passage in the Bible, a lot of people misquote it. It actually says the love of money is the root of all evil. Some have wandered away from the faith and wandered away from many things, family, relationships, because they craved for it. So money is great, but it's a terrible master, but it's a good servant. When you tell money where to go, you're making money the servant. But if you allow money to tell you what to do, then that means money becomes the master and we are the servant to money.
Thank you for letting me venture down that road a little bit.
Awesome.
Okay. Next habit.
Yes.
Habit number 3.
Habit number 3.
So
hey, I want to say one more thing about habit number 2. One of the things about me, Damon, is I knew that I had an entrepreneurial bent. I didn't mind taking risk in order to achieve more out of my financial life. And I think that's an important thing that people have to come to grips with, is how much risk are they willing to take? How did God build them? And that will oftentimes determine what kind of career you get into. So it's really important to know yourself.
That's good.
And not to try to be like somebody else.
That's good.
Okay. All right. The third one is how you sow money. That means being generous. Now that's countercultural. It's counterintuitive, because when we think about having more of something, let's say money. Well, we
hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
I got to accumulate more of it. I have to hold on tighter to it to get more. You don't want to give it away. But that's why this whole philosophy of sowing and reaping is so important. Because a farmer, you could hold on to those seeds, but if you don't ever put that seed in the ground, which means you give it away, you take the risk of losing some of it temporarily. But whatever you plant, over time, you're going to get more than you planted. So it's the same with money.
We can talk about the Bible's principles on sowing and reaping, and that's important. What people need to understand is that sowing is a universal principle.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you'll find it in just about every culture. There's a difference between holding on to it and being cheap, though.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, no doubt.
Some people are so cheap.
They're so cheap.
That's fear-based, isn't it?
It's fear-based. It's selfish. It is, I always say, if you hold on to what you have, and you can hold on really tight, hey, that's cool. You'll keep what you have. But nobody can put anything in a closed fist.
Wow.
When you open your hand and say, God, take out whatever needs to be taken out to help others, to bless others, but put in whatever you need to put in, Lord. That's good. And you have that hand open.
You're also not saying that be frivolous or foolish with your sowing.
No.
Right? So could sowing be a form of investment?
No doubt about it. There are a couple of ways that I sow. First and foremost, I sow to God. Now, how do we do that? There are different ways. Some people do that. Obviously, the number one way is through your church or through a ministry or through a kingdom or faith cause. That's very important.
Something charitable, humanitarian.
Yes.
Make the world a better place.
That's right. Make the world a better place. You're giving back. You're not consuming everything you give. But you also have to invest in yourself. You have to put money back into your dream and not consume it all and spend it all. You have to think about your future. So you sow into others, you sow obviously into yourself, and that can take various forms, education, you know, I remember I used to pay for people to sit and have lunch with me because these were extraordinarily successful people in the investment business. And I wanted to know some of their keys to success. So I would invite these guys out to lunch and say, hey, I'll pay for your lunch and give you $100 if you would just sit with me for 45 minutes and let me ask you some questions. That's an investment.
I would submit, Lee, also, it's balance, you know, buying nice things. Investing in yourself is having a nice pair of shoes.
No doubt.
You just don't have to have 5.
That's right.
I mean, having a nice car doesn't have to be one you can't afford. Having, you know, a nice wardrobe, in moderation, having a nice house. I mean, if you can afford these things, you're not saying that that's wrong.
No,
that's not gluttony. That's not going too far. But I hear you saying you need to do that. I mean, imagine trying to tell somebody that you understand money and you look like you don't. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're broke. Or you look broke.
Look broke.
It's a balance, right?
It is. It is.
Not an extreme.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason we sow is sowing breaks the power of selfishness in our life. Now, remember this incredible verse, a guy named Jesus said, you cannot serve God and money. Well, one of the ways that people serve money, or money becomes their God, or money is something that they crave for, well, it's because they are selfish with their money. So with me, giving, helping others, investing or giving to organizations, my church, other people, investing in myself for my future, it's a way to break the power of selfishness in my life. So cool. I don't become this self-centered person and every dime I make is all about me.
That's good.
Okay.
Next.
So
next habit.
The third one.
That's 3.
No, sorry, that's 3. That's right. I'm on number 4. We're moving pretty fast. Now, this is a big one, sort of like the third one. It's saving.
All right.
But saving means you're preparing for your future. You're not consuming everything for this current season in your life. You're preparing for your future. And how about this? Even the future of the next generation or 2.
You know how many people statistically don't save?
Oh my God.
They spend it all out.
80% of people live from paycheck to paycheck.
Now, I've been there.
Me too.
And I remember saying to myself, 2 things. I can't afford to sow. I'm broke. I can't afford. And 2, I certainly can't afford to save. But as time moves on and I become a little older, a little wiser, I realize that's not true. It's really about planning, isn't it?
It is.
Unpack that.
You have to build your life and your disciplines around things that are important to you. The reason people spend, and we're going to get to that one first, and then hope they can do these other things is because they've made spending the priority instead of sowing and saving. So you build sowing and saving into your financial lifestyle. So you make it a priority. Now, saving is basically telling yourself no today so you can say yes to something tomorrow.
Give me an example. I'm tracking. Give me an example.
An example is, let's call the word retirement. One day, if God wills, all of us will live to be elderly. And I love this verse in the Bible. It says the ants prepare for their future. They don't eat up all of their food, okay? So they save some of their food. So when it gets cold and they can't come out and get stuff off the ground, they'll have some food to eat. It's the same with us. We have to prepare for our future. Well, how do you do that? You don't consume it, you save it. So an example would be retirement. One day we'll be 80 years old, 85 years old. We won't have the energy, maybe the vitality, the stamina, or we just may not want to put in the kind of hours we're putting in at 40 or 50 years old. Well, you have to have money to make up that gap. And the way we do that is preparing for our future. It's called saving and investing. and it is putting your money in some kind of instrument that can grow. And the reason it needs to grow, whether it's stocks, bonds, or mutual fund, is because of this word called inflation. If you take $1 and you put it under your mattress, and you wake up 10 years later and you go to spend that dollar won't be worth $1.
It shrunk.
That's exactly right, because prices have gone up, and especially now with inflation coming back. So investing for your future is important, and you have to prepare for your future. That's why you have to save.
Is part of the logistics, the strategy of saving, creating a discipline of living beneath your means.
Yes.
In other words, I gave the analogy of myself earlier on, and so many people now, where I can't afford to give and I can't afford to save. I mean, I'm at my limit now. I bring in this much, it's all out. If I were to actually add some percentage of what I make to giving and a little percentage to saving, I'd have to pull it from somewhere else, right? But if I do it all over again on the front end, it would have me reevaluating where my money's going to in the first place.
That's right.
Walk me through some. This sounds very basic, but common sense ain't all that common when it comes to money, because so many people are here. We hear it all the time. I can't afford to save, and I can't afford to give. Right?
Okay.
So how do you, from the outset, how do you, is it getting a nice car, but maybe not so nice? Do you, in the process of buying the car, consider that I need to create a little room there for giving and to save?
Well, I have a little rule that I have lived by, and I know a lot of people who live by this rule. It's called the 10-10-80 rule. You sow 10% off the top. Charitable giving, you save at least 10% off the top. That means it comes out automatically. First. And then you live off of the 80. So, but the problem is a lot of people are already living on the 100. So how do you get the chance? How do you get to this 80% lifestyle when you've been living at 100%?
Exactly.
Well, it takes time, and it takes some tough decisions, and it takes some examination. Most people waste 10 to 15% of their money on choices and things that they don't necessarily have to have. So the first thing,
and it adds up.
And it adds up. So you have to take a couple of months and really evaluate every purchase to see, do I need this? Do I need this? How can I cut back on here? It's going to take some time to get to that 80% mark.
Brother, Uber Eats is from hell. I'll tell you right now. I'm hungry. It's late. I'm tired. And man, I apologize. I'm probably going to get sued for saying that out loud. It's a great tool.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
It's so convenient. Oh my God, it's expensive. I could just go in the kitchen and whip up some vittles.
That's right.
You know? But we're really surrounded by a system that is designed
to tell us to spend.
It's true.
Yeah. And then you look around, you've gotten a raise, maybe your business has gone up, you like your house, you like your car, and then you look around and say, I'm really no better off than I was 5 years ago. I just got more stuff, but I'm still hustling, paycheck to paycheck, grinding.
You just got to make more, Lee.
Yeah, just got to make more. And it's a grind. And I'm saying that what happens, you end up not having peace.
Yeah.
So
because you're always grinding.
Yeah, you're always grinding.
Okay, but I'm sorry, I got us up track. But that is so good. So right at the get, from the jump point, 10% charitable giving,
10% saving,
10% saving, and I would imagine in the saving process, because I like what you said. You got to have cash. You got to put your hands on some liquid, but you don't put all your money under the mattress. It will shrink over time.
It will.
So you're saying slow down and consider investing.
Yes.
Putting that instrument, the tool, into a place where it can grow.
That's right.
We could do a whole show on how to invest. We won't spend any more time on that topic now. let's get to the next
All right.
the next habit.
All right. Now, remember I said how you see money,
Mhm.
how you seize money,
Yep.
how you sow money,
Yep.
how you save money, and the last one is how you spend it.
Oh, yes.
You have to
I
spend it.
felt the
how-
anointing when you said that last
Oh
one.
man. But see, it's nothing wrong with spending money. In fact, spending money is fun. You just have to do it strategically.
All right.
We don't do it strategically.
And that's not the same as saving.
That's not the
Spending.
same. Yeah.
It's like it's time to do what you want to do with what you
Yeah,
bought
it's time to
or what
do
you
what you
worked
want
hard
to
to
do.
get.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, man, it's time to reward yourself. It's
That's
time to determine the kind of lifestyle that you want to live.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And by the way, that's going to be different for everybody.
Say-
But you have to
say
do it
that again.
strategically.
Say that again.
That's going to be
It's
different,
gonna be different
for
for
everybody.
So there's not a one set rule.
No,
We don't have to keep up with the Joneses.
we don't. You
Just because somebody else spends it a certain way, we're not judging them for that. After all, they did the 10, they did the
Mhm,
10,
yeah.
right? They got the extra left over. What they do with it is their business.
That's their
We
business.
don't judge.
Mhm.
I shouldn't be doing with mine what someone else is doing with theirs just because they're doing with theirs what they do with theirs.
That's exactly
And that meets my strategy.
That's right.
How do you get a strategy?
Right. Well, the strategy for spending has to be based on what you believe God wants you to do with your money. In other words, how are you going to use this as a tool, as a lifestyle tool? Let me give you an example. When it comes to spending, there are decisions you have to ask yourself. And it is simply this: what is the best use of this money, this excess money I have? What is the best way for me to use that? Now, most people don't ask that question. They just spend it if it's there. So, my wife and I, we're empty nesters. We recently downsized our home
By choice.
by choice.
All that space you don't need.
Yeah, we just don't need all that space.
Mhm.
Now we have some friends our age, they're empty nesters and they upsized. They were like, okay, these kids are gone, man.
I got extra money.
That's right, I got extra money. And that's their prerogative. But for us, we felt like we wanted to free up some money by downsizing. We freed up money and we had our reasons for it. Here they were. We wanted to give more. We wanted to travel more, spend more on traveling. And we wanted to enjoy ourselves more, just some things that we just want to do.
One more night at dinner.
Giving,
Whatever,
yeah, that's
right?
exactly
Whatever,
right.
right?
And by the way, my wife, I didn't know she was doing this. I think she retired from cooking when the kids left, and she didn't tell me that. It's like, hey, what are we having for dinner? She'll name a restaurant, But the bottom line is, we decided we were going to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. There's a book, The Road Less Traveled.
Yes.
By Scott Peck.
Yeah.
The premise of the book is delayed gratification.
Yes. Man.
Oh, if we but knew that a little earlier on in life, but it's never too late to make a decision that I'm going to create a discipline to live life a certain way responsibly now, so that when the time comes, man, if I want to eat out every night,
right,
I earned it. And that's what you probably did.
Yeah.
You're at a point, which, by the way, congratulations to you. I know it hasn't always been as you stated, right? It's been high points and low points. That's part of life. But you, somewhere along the way, discovered these habits and put them into practice so that you could be sitting here today with the freedom. You've gone to those three places.
I've been there.
You've been at the frustrated.
You've
been at the functional. And now you have an experience of freedom where you can eat out every night. Exaggerating, maybe not, but just saying it for the sake of the conversation. You can eat out every night if you wanted to, because you earned it. because you probably along the way practice some delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So many of us, we want it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Influence of culture, issues with our self-esteem that we got to work out, issues with trying to measure up and be something for someone when deep inside it's not who we really are. So many pressures, so many reasons why we burn ourselves out so early. We become so irresponsible with the thing called money, not realizing that if I could just have a plan, a little bit more measured, a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more conservative, perhaps, that the day will come, God willing, our health holds out, that I will be able to use that thing called money as a tool, not just to make my world a better place, but man, make the world a better place. They say that a man will work his whole life to become wealthy and then spend the last chapter of his life desiring to give it all back if he could to just reclaim his health. Wow. Money is one of the biggest reasons on the checkbox in the world of Zoe Wellness Centers of America, when we ask, why are you so stressed out? Money. And yet, it is something to be mastered to enable us to do what it is we're called to do.
Yes.
And yet it becomes the prison for so many.
Wow.
We can overcome that, can't
Yes,
we?
we can. We have to.
How can, I know you're pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and but you also, if I remember correctly, you still consult and provide financial advice to individuals and corporations that need it.
I do.
And thank you for that. I'm gonna call you myself next week.
Okay.
So if people want to connect with you, how can they do that? Where do they go?
Yeah. Well, two places. They can find me on my website, leejenkinsgroup.com.
Awesome.
Okay. Or they can just go on social media, Lee Allen Jenkins. That's ALLEN, Lee Allen Jenkins. So I'm at Lee Allen Jenkins on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
Awesome. Yeah. I want to thank you for being part of the first part of our show on national television. Isn't that awesome, everybody? And also here in the world of digital media. We got to have both these days.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for tuning in and being part of today's program. I hope and trust that the information that we've given to you today and the format that we've provided, it has been a blessing to you, has enriched your thinking, maybe answered some questions, maybe confirmed some things that you were already thinking. But at the end of the day, I trust that we have left you better than we found you. You being here left us better than we were. We appreciate you so much. And I encourage you, continue to strive to find that one idea, one strategy, one solution to shape your thinking and help you discover the extraordinary life. I'm Damon. See you tomorrow.